Last year, Americans spent over $11 billion on unnecessary car repairs. That's not a typo. 11 billion wasted because predatory mechanic chains convinced drivers their perfectly fine cars needed work they never required. I've been turning wrenches for 23 years, and I've seen what happens when someone takes their Honda to the wrong shop. Blown engines from botched oil changes, transmissions destroyed by incompetent techs, brake jobs so dangerous the car shouldn't be on the road. So today, I'm exposing the 9 mechanic chains that are literally destroying your car. And at the end, I'll reveal the 6 shops that actually know what they're doing. The same shops that keep my trucks running past 300,000 miles. Let's start the countdown with number 9. Pep Boys is where good cars go to die slowly. You walk in thinking you're getting a quick oil change, and somehow you leave with a $1,200 bill for services you didn't need. I've had customers come to my shop after Pep Boys told them their brake pads were dangerously worn. We put the car on the lift. Pads still had 60% life left. That's not a mistake. That's a scam. Their business model relies on upselling fear to people who don't know better. Last month, lady brings in her Camry after Pep Boys replaced her radiator. Except they didn't replace anything. They topped off the coolant and charged her $970 for a radiator she already had. When we pulled the part, we could see the original factory stamps. Same radiator, 10 years old, never touched. But here's where it gets worse. Pep Boys has one of the highest turnover rates in the industry. That means inexperienced techs working on your car. Kid fresh out of vocational school, no certifications, suddenly he's diagnosing your transmission. Guy with a 2018 Accord came in after Pep Boys did his brakes. 3 days later, grinding noise, pulling to the left, brake warning light on. We found they installed the pads backward. The metal backing was grinding against the rotor. $800 in new rotors because someone didn't know which way the pad faces. When your entire business runs on commission-based upsells, quality dies first. But if you think Pep Boys is bad, number 8, Jiffy Lube takes cutting corners to an Olympic level. These shops are famous for the 15-minute oil change, and there's a reason it's that fast. They're skipping steps. I've seen drain plugs barely hand-tight. Oil filters never changed. Air filters marked as replaced that weren't even touched. Customer with a Silverado, 2019 model, 72,000 miles, brought it in, knocking like a diesel. Jiffy Lube had been doing his oil changes. We dropped the pan. Metal shavings everywhere. They'd been using the wrong weight oil for 2 years. His engine was eating itself from the inside. $9,000 rebuild on a truck that should have lasted another 100,000 miles easy. Here's their game. Get you in fast, get you out fast, sell you stuff you don't need while you wait. Transmission flush for a car with 30,000 miles. Fuel system cleaning on a brand new engine. Power steering flush when your car has electric steering. They're banking on you not knowing your own vehicle. And when they mess up, good luck getting them to admit fault. I had a guy whose Jeep caught fire 3 blocks from Jiffy Lube. Turns out they left a shop rag on the exhaust manifold. The rag ignited, burned through wiring harnesses, melted the air intake. Insurance adjuster confirmed it. Jiffy Lube denied everything, claimed he must have put the rag there himself. $12,000 in fire damage, and he had to sue just to get them to pay. Another customer came in after a Jiffy Lube oil change, engine seized on the freeway doing 70. They drained the oil, forgot to put new oil in. Just sent him on his way. Engine locked up solid. $18,000 engine replacement on a car worth $22,000. Number 7. Midas, the king of the bait and switch. You see their ads promising cheap brake jobs, $59. You drive in, Suddenly it's 800 because they found problems you definitely have even though your brakes were fine last week. I've torn apart so many Midas brake jobs I could write a manual on how not to do them. Rotors turned so thin they're below minimum spec. Calipers not lubricated. Brake fluid never flushed. Woman with an Odyssey came in. Van shaking violently when braking. Midas had replaced her front brakes 2 months earlier. We found they never resurfaced the rotors. Just slapped new pads on warped rotors. The vibration was so bad it damaged her steering rack. $3,200 in repairs because someone wanted to save 10 minutes. But here's what really gets me. Midas franchises are independently owned, which means quality is a total gamble. One location might be decent. The next one over might be staffed by people who learned car repair from YouTube videos. No consistency, no standards, just whatever the owner decides is good enough. And their labor rates are insane for the work you get. $130 an hour for a tech making $15. Where's that money going? Not into training, that's for sure. Number 6. Firestone Complete Auto Care is consistently incompetent. These guys have been around forever, which makes people think they're trustworthy. They're not. Customer brought me his F-150 after Firestone did an alignment. Truck pulled hard right, ate through a set of tires in 8,000 miles. We checked the alignment specs. They hadn't aligned anything. Just reset the computer and sent him on his way. 4 new tires, another alignment, $650 wasted. Firestone loves to sell you services based on mileage, not actual need. Your manual says transmission service at 100,000 miles. Firestone says you need it at 30,000. Coolant flush every 2 years when your coolant is rated for 10. Had a Civic owner come in, engine misfiring badly. Firestone had just done a tune-up. We pulled the spark plugs. Wrong heat range, wrong gap. One wasn't even tight. The plug backed out, stripped the threads, and now the head needed a helicoil insert. What should have been a $200 tune-up turned into a $1,400 nightmare. When you complain, they hide behind their corporate structure. The technician blames the service writer. The service writer blames the manager. Nobody takes responsibility while your car sits broken. Number 5. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Another fast lube scam factory. These places hire anyone with a pulse and a willingness to work for minimum wage. I've seen Valvoline techs who didn't know where the oil filter was located. Not exaggerating. They had to call their manager over to find it. When your entire job is oil changes and you can't find the filter, that's terrifying. Guy with a Tacoma, 2021, only 18,000 miles, brought it in with oil pressure warnings. Valvoline had done his last change. We dropped the skid plate. The drain plug was cross-threaded, barely holding. Oil was leaking out slowly. Another few hundred miles, and that engine would have run dry and seized. We had to re-tap the pan, install an oversized plug. Cost him $300 to fix what should have been a $40 oil change. But here's the real issue with these quick lube places. Speed over safety. They're timed on how fast they turn cars. Faster service means more cars per hour, means more profit. So corners get cut. Oil filter gaskets that don't get lubricated. Drain plug washers that don't get replaced. Lady came in, cabin full of smoke. Valvoline had left her oil cap off. Oil sprayed all over the engine bay, hit the exhaust, started smoking. Could have been a fire. They gave her a free oil change as an apology. Moving to number 4, Monroe Muffler Brake. Their name tells you what they specialize in, and somehow they're still terrible at both. Monroe shops are notorious for overselling exhaust work. Tiny pinhole in your muffler, they want to replace the entire exhaust system for $2,000. Customer with a Corolla came in for a second opinion. Monroe quoted him $1,700 for a full exhaust system. We looked underneath. One hanger bracket was broken. $12 part. 15 minutes to install. He saved $1,688 by driving 10 miles to my shop. Their brake work isn't any better. I've seen Monroe brake jobs where they replaced pads but not rotors when the rotors were clearly scored. Woman's Subaru came in, brakes grinding metal on metal. Monroe had done her brakes 6 months earlier. The pads had separated from the backing plates. That's a defective part, but Monroe installed them anyway. No quality check, no inspection, just slap them on and collect the money. $2,900 in rotor replacement, caliper replacement, and bearing replacement because the grinding damaged everything. Number 3. Christian Brothers Automotive. Don't let the wholesome name fool you. These shops operate on guilt and manipulation. They play worship music in the waiting room, have Bible verses on the walls, and then proceed to lie straight to your face about your car. Had a customer who's a pastor, thought he'd support a Christian business. They told him his engine mounts were shot, his transmission was slipping, and his suspension was dangerous. $7,000 quote. He brought it to me shaking. I put it on the lift. Everything was fine. Engine mounts solid, transmission shifting perfectly, suspension tight. I showed him. He cried. Not because his car was okay, but because people he trusted because of shared faith had tried to rob him. That's predatory behavior dressed up in religious clothing. And here's the thing about franchises that use faith as marketing. They're counting on you not questioning them. You're supposed to trust them because they pray before they work. But prayer doesn't fix a car. Competent technicians fix cars. Woman brought me her van after Christian Brothers quoted her $4,800 in repairs. Bad alternator, bad battery, bad starter, plus a bunch of other stuff. We tested everything. Alternator was fine, battery was fine, starter was fine. She had a corroded battery terminal. We cleaned it. 10 minutes, no charge. She was so grateful she broke down. These places prey on people's trust, especially women and elderly folks who don't know better. Number 2 gets even worse. AAMCO transmissions. If you value your transmission, never let these people touch it. AAMCO built their name on transmission work, which makes it extra painful that they're so bad at it. Their business model is simple. Diagnose every problem as transmission failure. Slipping between gears? Transmission rebuild, $4,500. Rough shifting? Transmission replacement, $7,000. Check engine light with a transmission code? New transmission, $9,000. Except 90% of the time, it's something simple. Low fluid, bad sensor, clogged filter. Things that cost $200 to fix. But AAMCO doesn't make money on $200 repairs. Customer with a Nissan Altima, 78,000 miles. Transmission slipping. AAMCO quoted him $6,200 for a rebuild. He couldn't afford it, brought it to me. I checked the fluid. It was 2 quarts low. Topped it off. Transmission worked perfectly. $25 saved him $6,175. That's not an isolated case. That's standard AAMCO procedure. Scare you with big numbers? Hope you don't get a second opinion. I've seen AAMCO rebuilds fail within 6 months because they don't actually rebuild properly. They replace some seals, clean some parts, charge you full price. And now, the absolute worst. Number 1, Tires Plus / Bell Tire. Depending on where you live, these shops share ownership, and they share the same terrible practices. These places combine everything wrong with chain shops: incompetent techs, aggressive upselling, and a complete disregard for your safety. I've seen more dangerous repairs come out of Tires Plus than anywhere else. Wheels installed with lug nuts barely finger tight. Tire pressure sensors destroyed during mounting. Wheels not balanced, causing violent shaking at highway speeds. Customer with a pilot came in, steering wheel shaking so bad at 70 miles per hour, she thought the wheel would come off. Tires Plus had just installed new tires. We pulled the wheels. 3 of 4 weren't balanced. The 4th was missing weights entirely. But here's where they cross into criminal. They've been caught multiple times for insurance fraud, claiming repairs that weren't done, billing for parts they never installed. In 2017, multiple Tires Plus locations were investigated for systematically overbilling insurance companies and customers. Some managers went to prison. The company paid millions in settlements. I had a customer whose insurance covered suspension work after an accident. Tires Plus billed for 4 new struts, 2 control arms, and alignment and labor. $7,800. Customer suspected something, brought the car to me right after. Nothing had been replaced, not one part. They aligned it and pocketed the rest. When a shop is willing to commit insurance fraud, what do you think they're doing to regular customers who pay cash? But not every chain is evil. Some actually hire qualified techs, use quality parts, and stand behind their work. Number 6 of the good ones, Costco Tire Center. You might not think of Costco for car repairs, but their tire service is actually solid. They don't do full mechanical work, just tires, batteries, and basic services. And that focus means they do it right. Their techs are trained specifically on tire installation and balancing. They use quality equipment. And because it's Costco, they're not working on commission. No pressure to upsell. No lying about what you need. Customer bought tires from Costco, had them installed, came to me a week later for an oil change. I checked their work. Perfect balance, perfect torque on lug nuts, pressure sensors working, alignment looked good. That's how it should be done. Plus, their warranty is actually good. Road hazard covers pretty much everything. Nail in your tire? Free replacement? Hit a pothole? Free replacement. And their prices are competitive even with the cheap places. You're getting quality work at discount prices. Number 5. Discount Tire / America's Tire. Same company, different names depending on your state. These guys are tire specialists and they're good at it. Free flat repairs even if you didn't buy tires from them. Free rotation and balancing if you did. No appointment needed for most services. And their techs actually know what they're doing. I've checked their work dozens of times. Always proper torque specs, always clean installations, always balanced correctly. Had a customer hit a curb, destroyed his wheel and tire. Discount Tire got him back on the road same day with a new wheel and tire, properly balanced and installed, for less than what Firestone quoted just for the tire. Their prices are fair, their service is fast, and they don't try to sell you stuff you don't need. That's revolutionary in this industry. Number 4. Penske Automotive. Specifically, their dealership service centers. Now, dealerships get a bad rap for being expensive, and yeah, they cost more. But Penske dealerships actually deliver quality. Their techs are factory trained on specific brands. They use OEM parts. They have the diagnostic equipment that generic shops don't. Customer had a complex electrical issue in his BMW. 3 shops tried to fix it, including an independent Euro specialist. Nobody could figure it out. Penske BMW dealership diagnosed it in 2 hours with factory scan tools. Fixed it the same day. Was it expensive? Yes. $850. But it was fixed right the first time. Compare that to the $2,200 he'd already spent at other shops guessing at the problem. Penske also stands behind their work. Something goes wrong. They make it right. No arguments, no blame games. For complex repairs or anything warranty related, dealerships are the smart choice. Number 3. AAA approved auto repair shops. AAA certifies independent shops that meet their standards. Regular inspections, customer satisfaction scores, proper licensing, and insurance. I'm AAA certified myself, and I can tell you the process isn't easy. They check everything: shop cleanliness, technician certifications, equipment calibration, customer complaint history. If you screw up too many times, you lose certification. That accountability makes a difference. Customer brought me his Accord, engine light on. Previous shop wanted $1,400 for oxygen sensors and catalytic converter. I diagnosed it, found a vacuum leak. $65 part, 30 minutes labor. Fixed. That's what honest diagnosis looks like. AAA shops typically charge fair labor rates, use quality parts, and actually diagnose before replacing parts. Number 2. Goodyear Auto Service. Not to be confused with the tire shops that just sell Goodyear tires. Goodyear company-owned service centers are surprisingly good. They hire ASE certified techs. They use quality parts. They don't work on commission. And they actually diagnose problems instead of guessing. Customer came in with a no-start condition. Goodyear diagnosed it as a failed fuel pump, quoted him $940 parts and labor. He wanted a second opinion, brought it to me. I confirmed their diagnosis, checked their quote. Fair price, quality part, reasonable labor. I told him to let Goodyear do it. Their work was good, came with a nationwide warranty. Goodyear also has good financing options if you need major work, and their warranty actually means something. And number 1, your local independent shop with ASE certified master technicians. I'm biased because that's what I run, but here's why independents are the best choice. We're not beholden to corporate quotas. We're not pushing products for kickbacks. We survive on reputation and repeat customers. If we screw up, our business dies. That accountability breeds quality. My shop, we diagnose before we recommend. We show customers the actual problems. We provide options at different price points. We use quality parts, we stand behind our work, and we charge fair labor rates. Customer loyalty is everything. I've got customers who've been coming to me for 20 years, 3 generations of the same family. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens by doing honest work at fair prices. How do you find a good independent? Look for ASE certifications, check reviews carefully, ask for recommendations from people who actually know cars. Good independents are out there. We're just not spending millions on advertising like the chains. So there you have it. 9 chains that will destroy your car and drain your wallet, and 6 options that actually know what they're doing. The mechanic industry is full of predators waiting to take advantage of your lack of knowledge. But now you know which shops to avoid and which ones to trust. Your car is probably the second biggest investment you'll ever make. Protect it by choosing wisely. Don't let convenience or a cheap price lure you into a shop that will cost you thousands in the long run. And if you've ever been burned by one of these chains, drop your story in the comments. Let's expose these predators together and help other drivers avoid the same fate.